In this episode, I'm here with Dennis Yu and Logan Young, the GOATs of Facebook advertising.
Same things over and over again. A lot of people think it's about tricks, but it's always going to be about word of mouth. It's always going to be about what is it that convinces someone to know, like, and trust you. So when we drive sales for, it could be like the Warriors or MGM, we're not using any sophisticated techniques. What we're doing is we're gathering that content at scale and then delivering it to the targets of who needs to see that content. And we say we don't have competitors not because we think we're the best. I mean, if you want to say we're GOAT, that's great too. Happy to take that. We're never going to say that about ourselves because it should be demonstrated in a system that anyone else can follow and get the same results. And so therefore, if you're an expert, you've systematized this, and I didn't bring our book, but we have one that's this thick of all the training.
Everyone wants to be great, but only few actually get there. And I'm on a mission to find out what all the greatest have in common. I've traveled tirelessly to find, sit down, and talk with GOATs, people that are arguably the greatest of all time at what they do. Sales, marketing, advertising, business, podcasts, branding, you name it. The way they do things may be different, but they all seem to see the world the same way. To them, success is not only achievable, but inevitable. And we'll get inside their heads as they share their expertise with me each week. My name's Mike Arce, and this is The GOAT Show. This episode is sponsored by Agency G.O.A.T. Starting a digital agency was definitely one of the best decisions I've ever made. Building it, however, was a lot more challenging than expected. I always wish someone just gave me a roadmap that I could follow and let me be a fly on the wall at a successful agency so I could just see how it's all done. Agency G.O.A.T allows you to do just that. Stop playing small and visit agencygsd.com to learn how to help hundreds of clients get it to 7 figures and be extremely profitable along the way. Again, go to agencygsd.com. And I also have to share my experience with ClickFunnels. If you've been living under a rock and haven't heard of them, they're hands down the #1 platform for building landing pages and marketing funnels. I've been using them since 2015, and it's so crazy how easily my team and I create landing pages using their proven templates and easy drag and drop system. Without any design or coding experience whatsoever, we've been able to create hundreds of landing pages within minutes that look great and close sales better than anything we've used in the past. They're great for webinar funnels, sales funnels, demos, squeeze pages, you name it. I can't even imagine my business doing as well without them. And actually right now, they're offering a free 14-day trial if you go to clickfunnelspromo.com. So I definitely recommend you guys take advantage of that 14-day trial. It's free for 14 days and you can get it at clickfunnelspromo.com.
All right, what's up, everybody? I'm Mike Arce, and welcome back to another episode of The GOAT Show. As you know, we got Dennis, we got Logan, and these guys are arguably the GOATs when it comes to Facebook ads. Greatest of all time. Welcome to the show, guys.
Hey, Mike. Good to see you.
Excited to be here.
Yeah, man. All right, well, I want to talk about this. How did you guys get to this? Because, well, first off, what were you doing before? Before you guys became Facebook GOATs?
Sure, I can start. So I was studying advertising at BYU. Okay. Advertising, Facebook ads falls into marketing. There's a lot of overlap there, and I really developed a spirit for being inquisitive. And when I found out about Facebook ads, started learning it, really just immersed myself in the topic and put in the time.
Okay, Dennis?
I spent $1 billion at Yahoo and I ran analytics, and I found that there's a lot of overlap between what you learn about people's behavior in search and an email that transitions to Facebook, and we were just very lucky to be there early when Facebook opened the platform 10 years ago.
Well, then let's open up with that. What have you noticed with that?
You know, it's the same things over and over again. A lot of people think it's about tricks, but it's always going to be about word of mouth. It's always going to be about what is it that convinces someone to know, like, and trust you.
Okay.
How do you communicate and represent a real in-life simulated experience? Because you will close a deal because of your experience when you're in person with somebody. How do you replicate that into Facebook? How do you replicate that into email? So you're trying to simulate that experience at scale. And so the idea of $1 a day, the idea of 1-minute videos about telling your why, these are things that will never change. It's that the data platform that Facebook has is now enabling us to do that at scale for small businesses to build your brand. So when we drive sales for, it could be like the Warriors or MGM, we're not using any sophisticated techniques. What we're doing is we're gathering that content at scale and then delivering it to the targets of who needs to see that content.
So let's say the people that need to see that content, obviously you guys know who that demographic would be, okay? And you're going to use Facebook interests and all the things that you can do in ad set level, right? But then when you say the things that they need to see, what things would you show them in order to start getting them closer to that process?
So most people inherently want to sell their product, they need to make money, and they try and show everyone the same thing where here's what my product is, my business. We believe in sequencing, and that's really the power of Facebook. Some time ago, Procter & Gamble came out and said, you know, we've tried this whole digital thing and it does not work, we're not seeing the same results. Well, if you approach it with an old-fashioned traditional mindset where you have one creative that you blast out to everyone, it won't work. But what you need to show them is not based off who they are, it's what they've already seen. So just like Netflix, you know, if you've seen episode 1, they're going to suggest to you that you now watch episode 2. You want to do the same thing on Facebook. So you might have a series of videos. Facebook recommends really short videos, 15 seconds long sometimes. So you're going to have video 1, 2, 3, 4, and then maybe your product. So based off where they are in your funnel and your sequence determines what they need to see.
Now you guys do a lot with personal branding as well, not just working with actual brands like Golden State Warriors and MGM. So you take people like Gary Vee and Grant Cardone, and I mean you could at this point just say Grant and Gary and Tony, and people know who they are by first name, right? So let's say you wanted to let's take me as an example, okay? What would be an ideal sequence in order to to get the best opportunity to build up my brand? If let's say you were in a competition to get me to that Grant or Gary level.
So there are 3 components of authority that you want to maximize because Facebook is an amplifier of what you already have.
Okay.
So there's who you're working with or who you know.
Okay.
There is what in terms of the content that you've produced in terms of 1, 2, 3, 4. This is how I was able to get something done. And then there's where, which are the properties. So for example, when we get more sports teams, we have a case study that we put on with Facebook. So that's huge, huge cred. We show step by step what we did with the Warriors and we publish it on Facebook's own blog. Right?
Wow.
Publish it on the American Marketing Association. So when you have those 3 components of authority, that's how you step people through the sequences that Logan was talking about. Because when you have the top, middle, and bottom of the funnel, which is the why, the how, and the what, which is awareness, engagement, conversion, you can sequence people through. So one thing, because I'm the tech guy, I'll mention that Logan had just started, is that when you have a sequence, it's triggered by what you last did. So when you listen to a song or you look at something on Amazon, it says people, you know, Mike Arce, we thought maybe you'd like this too. If you like this song, you might also want to watch this movie. It's the same thing. We're setting up these sequences based on what they just did. So if you take your content and you make that 3x3 grid that we talked about earlier, then anytime they consume one piece of content, you have the next thing set up as a trigger. Now, you'll see what we've done for some billion-dollar companies, but the same approach works for your personal brand.
Okay.
You just have smaller sequences, you have smaller budgets, you have smaller audiences that you're hitting. Because if they have seen one episode of this show and they like it and they say so-and-so, you know, Grant Cardone's the GOAT, then they know your content's good, how do you sequence them into the next episode? If you've got one customer that said something amazing about you, how do you sequence them into the next thing to find out more about your services? You don't just, like Logan said, just pitch your services. You've got a sequence, and that's something all of us know in building relationships. It's just general etiquette. You don't propose on your first date. I mean, some people do, right? But you want to be able to sequence them through, and when you start to have a company with many locations, with many people, with many products, then you have more sequences, you have more triggers, but it's the same fundamental building blocks that you build for individuals. So if you are a coach, if you're a consultant, it's the same building blocks as if you are, you know, Rosetta Stone or you're Ashley Furniture or you're one of these big companies. It's the same thing. Don't think that just because they're big companies that you can't apply the same principles.
Now, a lot of the content that you produce, do you prefer video over image and carousel and all that other stuff?
Yeah, because we talked about sequencing. So when I have a video, I can Facebook allows me to say anyone that watched this particular video, and then I can show them whatever I want. But with a photo, I can't do that. I can't say anyone that looked at this photo or read this status update, then show them that. Facebook doesn't give you that granular level of data yet, but for video they do. And just in general, video is a great way to tell a story, because if you think of a product is a what. Dennis talked about having a why, how, and what, which are principles of sequencing. A why is telling your story. Video just is the optimal channel or source to tell a story.
And you say when people watch your video, is there a certain amount of the video you want people to watch before you put them through the next sequence? Or if they watch maybe like 2 seconds, do you say, no, not yet, don't throw them in?
Yeah, so Facebook allows you quite a bit of flexibility here too. Facebook counts a view as 3 seconds. That is what a quantity view is. The next step you can take is anyone that watched at least 10 seconds. So we like to retarget saying anyone that watched at least 10 seconds to the video, that way they got more of an impression, because 3 seconds, as you guys know, when you're scrolling through your feed, the videos will start auto-playing. So a lot of people, they're just kind of scrolling and the video starts auto-playing, but they don't really intend to watch it, and then they quickly will scroll past it. So of course, we really don't care about those people. We're gonna put them in this bucket of maybe accidental views. A 10 seconds more of a quality view. They've showed some intent, they've stuck around. And again, you know, I could go further. I could say 50%, 95%, but 10 seconds is the starting point.
And what's the average length of time of a video being watched? Do you guys have that?
Yep. 6 seconds.
So 3 seconds is only half the average, so that's why you don't like doing that. And 10 seconds is almost double the average, so you can at least assume that maybe it's somewhat interested of a person, right? Okay, awesome. So now you guys talk about know, like, and trust, right? So let's say we're showing them a sequence, and let's say it's me, right? Because a lot of people that are going to be listening in, they're wanting to build up their personal brands as well. So they're going to be able to vicariously see this through through my world. So I'm wanting to get people to know me, and then like me, and then trust me, right? So give me an example of a video that I could put out first to get them to know me. What's an example of something that I mean, would it be like straight this episode, or would it be me at a whiteboard talking about something showing that I know what I'm talking about? What would be like a great first step?
So whenever you meet somebody, you want to have a warm touch, because if you know, Logan is friends with Mike and introduces, you know, me, then it's a lot better than me coming to you saying, hey, I'm really important, right? So when you can have a warm touch, you want to leverage an existing audience. So if you have fans of Tony Robbins, you're targeting them with a video of you and Tony together. That's a warm touch. That's a simulated remarketing. It's not an actual remarketing touch. It's not a warm touch, but it feels strong because it's someone else that has worked with you. So
you're friends with my friends, so now we're friends.
So if you have a speaker reel, if you have a why video that tells your story, if you have a montage of great quotes from other people that you've interviewed, then it establishes that this guy is legit, right? Because right now we're talking about the nitty gritty of how do you set up your brand, how do you scale on Facebook, but imagine someone that doesn't know you. That's not a good way to start, right? So you have to start by establishing the authority. The highest authority pieces could be a series of snippets of interviews, and then if people, they spend more than 10 seconds on a particular interview, then you show them the whole piece, right? Just like you show them a carousel, just like you're browsing all these things on Netflix and which thing do I want to see, you can watch that trailer. That's what you have in the top one for awareness. Then engagement, they click on the one they want to learn more of. So Amazon, when they see that you've bought 3 of these things, they're going to suggest a 4th item, right? So that's what happens in engagement, where they're really getting into, so to like something is to truly understand it and go into detail, right? So a series of 10-second views, or they put in their email address, then that brings them down into conversion, which is trust, and that's when people buy. But if you don't follow this sequence, which is human psychology, which has always been this way, then you're going to have trouble using the tools and systems that Facebook puts out there for conversion. So for those who are listening, this sounds conceptual. You can do this entire thing in 10 minutes. You can write down 3 topics you want to talk about for how, 3 topics for why, and 3 topics for what, which are the 3 stages of the funnel. It's your 3 by 3. 9 items. You can fill them in one continuous shot in 10 minutes, and then put them out there on Facebook and let the algorithm do the targeting, because you can set up the sequencing. People who watch video 1, watch video 3. People who watch video 4, show them video 7, right? You've got a 3 by 3 tic-tac-toe grid.
Wow.
One thing too, just before we move on, Dennis mentioned, you know, authority, so maybe you interviewed Tony Robbins. Many of us haven't been fortunate enough to cross paths with Tony Robbins. So another way of having authority is you want to gain people's trust with the first touch, because they don't know you. It's the first touch, how to develop my personal brand. Take your strongest content that gets the most engagement, the most likes, comments, and shares. That's engagement. Engagement equates to word of mouth. So all these people that like, comment, and share your video, they're basically vouching for you. They're endorsing your brand. So you put the strongest content out there. So when someone sees you for the first time, even though they don't know who you are, they can see, you know what, my friend liked it. There's a ton of people that have been commenting. He must be pretty legit. So if you don't have high authority figures, you haven't interviewed Tony Robbins or Grant Cardone, that's okay. Ideally, you put some videos out there, 1 or 2 of them got some traction, lead with that.
Now, this is called the G.O.A.T show, because it's about being the greatest, right? And so there's so many people that work hard on the same stuff, and they're Googling and they're watching YouTube videos, doing everything they can to get results for their clients or for themselves. how did you guys break through? How does one become great at this? Where are you learning, or what's the mindset you go into ads in order to make sure that you guys are constantly staying ahead of the game? Because you've been doing this since Yahoo years, right? Mm-hmm. When you were doing stuff there. So what's your thought process, your mindset through this stuff?
See, the mentor model is you're always seeking out the other people that have demonstrated experience, not because they say they're good, but because they actually have proven it in 1, 2, 3, 4, here's a checklist. Anyone who is an expert, the way to tell whether they are or not is, do they have a checklist of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that then you and I can repeat? So our whole model is based upon systematizing and collecting from other experts. So the fact that Logan has pictures with Mark Zuckerberg and has spent time with Mark and all these other people that are famous, that creates authority, but it doesn't mean that he knows what he's doing necessarily, right? So if you systematically are collecting that expertise and you're testing it, you can't help but eventually build the strongest system, because you don't have competitors. And we say we don't have competitors not because we think we're the best. I mean, if you want to say we're GOAT, that's great too. Happy to take that. We're never going to say that about ourselves, because it should be demonstrated in a system that anyone else can follow and get the same results. And so therefore, if you're an expert, you've systematized this. And I didn't bring our book, but we have one that's this thick of all the training that you and other folks have and can go through, right? Like we delivered in the workshops before. And that's the proof of it. So anyone else who's good, you're going to want to work with them, and they're going to want to work with you. And the world is very, very small in the world of Facebook ads. So it looks like we're super connected, but there's only a few people that matter. That's how Logan was able to break into the system in just 18 months.
Wow. Pizza
Hut delivery boy to world-class international keynote speaker.
That's pretty awesome, man. All right, so let's talk about Blitz Metrics. What is Blitz Metrics, and what are you doing for people now?
So Blitz Metrics, we are known for doing Facebook ads. We're a company that our mission, our goal is to provide jobs for young adults. So we believe, there's challenges with the college system, and Dennis mentioned mentorship. We want to have mentorship. So we have a built-in leveling system. So someone comes in, they go through qualifying, and then they start as a level 1, and then they have people that are level 3 and level 5 above them, teaching them. So the whole thing with college, right, is you go through and you learn things, but you don't get the experience. So we want young people to be able to come and work on accounts like the Golden State Warriors or Rosetta Stone or TiVo, some of these bigger accounts that have a lot of spend that would give you really good experience. Look it on your resume. They have the chance to come in, to start as level 1, to learn how to do it. By the time they hit level 3, they're ready to be put on some of these accounts. Again, they're still under someone that's level 5, so there's always a 2-level gap above them, so that way, there's no disasters in the kitchen, so to speak, right? So it's a chance for them to get real experience, and for us, that's our mission, is to teach and provide this training.
Now, is it mainly for young adults, or have you ever had companies say, I'd like you to put my team through training?
Yeah.
Really?
So there is, the core of what we have is training. These are the checklists, this is the knowledge, this is the stuff that we have done ourselves over and over again, so we know that these work. Now, the young adults come through subsidized on a scholarship because they are also working for us, also to reduce rate, which is an apprenticeship model. And the businesses are coming through and they're paying for packages. They're paying for training. We just had our 3-day workshop at Infusionsoft. It's $7,500, right? So the businesses are paying, and that's funding the student relationship, and that brings us here as the arbiter of training. So we're bringing all this together in an ecosystem that doesn't require donations. Because when you have this core training, it's for sale for businesses. It's for sale so that they could buy training for $147, but they could also pay us to do it. They could pay us $500 for an express package to fix your digital plumbing, which is broken on your website, by the way. They could pay $500 to get their personal branding configured properly. They're going to produce the content, but we're going to organize it, right? You could buy the course and learn step by step and do it yourself, or you could pay to get that done. And either way, the students are on this side, they're implementing, they're providing support, they're getting apprenticeship experience, they're being mentored by other people that are senior. So that's how our ecosystem works. Some people say that we're the Uber of marketing. Well, Uber, you have a robot boss, right? What if you're an Uber driver and you don't show up or you're not feeling good? There's no leveling up. There's no growing your experience. There's no mentoring and developing other people. Ours is about using technology to empower these people instead of enslave them in self-driving cars and get rid of people, right? So we're trying to bring together the businesses that have legitimate needs in digital marketing, collect their goals, get their plumbing, run our systems to drive leads and sales and whatnot, make them famous, promote their book, right? And then the students are the ones that are doing the work, but they're not producing the content. because you don't want some random kids going around doing random things. You want a tight process. And we build the infrastructure that enables that ecosystem.
Right. Wow. All right. So last two things before we tell these guys how they can learn more about you guys and get started with Blitzmetrics if it makes sense for them, their company or their kids, whatever it is, right? How much money have you guys collectively advertised on Facebook for other companies and your clients and all that? How much money have you guys spent?
We've spent over $1 billion in the last 10 years. That does not mean that we're any good, because I wasted billions of dollars when I was at Yahoo, right? I ran most of Yahoo's paid search, spending money on Google. Terry Semel got mad at me because it was Yahoo, and was like, why do you? But it's not the fact that you're spending a lot of money. That's impressive. It's not the fact. It's not even how much money you've made, because there's a lot of accounts where, because people say, oh, well, the Warriors are, how do you win in social media? Well, get the NBA championship winning team, so it's pretty easy to sell tickets. No, so none of those things matter. Those create authority. Those are accoutrements. What really matters is that you have these kinds of demonstrated checklists, because if you are data oriented and you're spending lots of money and you're working on high profile accounts and you work closely with Facebook like we do, in fact, instead of being at Facebook today, we were with you, because today was the global partner meeting, but we wanted to spend time with you, right? But if you're spending the money and you're doing it systematically and experimenting, you're gathering data and learning along the way. That's what really counts. It's the active listening and analyzing that helps you build systems as you do it. It's not the fact you've been doing it for however many years. I've been doing it for over 20 years. That's not what counts. What counts is, are you systematically improving all the time?
Right, well, because you haven't been doing it for 20 years and you're killing it, right? So yeah, it's definitely not what counts. It's awesome. Last thing, greatest success story. The thing you were just like, I can't believe that worked so well. I mean, it would be great, but man, that was amazing. And you would love like everyone to see how that was done.
In terms of just Facebook ads?
Yeah.
Man, greatest success story, I think just the title builds up the hype more than you can execute on it, but the simplicity of changing the creative, where people do not want to be sold to. So if someone sees something that looks, smells, feels, tastes, sounds like an ad, they're just going to be turned off by that, right? Because they feel like at that point they're being taken advantage of, and advertisements certainly don't work on me. I'm smarter than that, right? So we've taken some creatives where, for example, it might start off as a carousel ad, and it's not performing very well, and you'll take the same images with the exact same copy and just switch it to a video slideshow. And just the fact that now it looks more organic, because you see a carousel, very clearly it's an ad. It's just not like a natural format of content on Facebook. You switch it to a video slideshow, and it now just looks more organic. It's still an ad, but people might not recognize it, and it'll cut our cost per lead or cost per engagement in half. So just understanding the way people react, to ads and how to break through that barrier.
So like understanding what people are used to seeing as organic content and giving it to them in the way that, hey, this is what I came here for. I didn't come here for the carousel ads.
Let me piggyback on that.
Okay.
So what Logan was saying is that it's not any one particular thing that you did. It was a sequence of testing and many shots over time, and sequencing until you find this winner, that you polish this thing. Not like you took this one half-court shot heave and it went in. It's that you took many, many free throw shots and tons of practice. For example, last year, Logan was on TV. He was the top story on the evening news because he got bit by a dog. Now, when we boosted that video, it had a 71.4% engagement rate, which means of the people that saw it, 71.4% engaged, liked, commented, shared, whatever. I have never seen an ad. I challenge everyone out there in the audience. I have never seen a higher engagement rate on any kind of ad.
What's normal?
Ever.
What's normal?
3 to 4%.
Wow.
Right. Some people say they're happy with the 1% click-through rate, right? And super high relevant score. The reason why is that when it was a dog attack, we were targeting the people that were hardcore pit bull lovers, the exact opposite that would say, oh, my pit bull would never harm it, but there was a dog attack and we had it on camera, this whole thing. So super high engagement that drove all these other people in. They started arguing with one another. Last week, Logan posted a little video of his lab swimming and retrieving a ball with another dog. We reignited that same audience. Right? Wow. And super high engagement rate, super high views, just like these viral videos. Also last week, Logan was on the Today Show, and he was quoted in several other outlets because we took that kind of viral power that Facebook remembers in their algorithm, and we targeted the media. We targeted the people that work at the Wall Street Journal and the Washington Post and the Today Show and all these other places, and that's how we got the placement. So that is a greatest hits that the media doesn't know, because we were with the Today Show and they're saying like, yeah, how are the Russians using Facebook ads to manipulate the general election? And we're explaining how this works, while at the same time, Logan's like clicking and showing them how to build the ads and all the targeting, while at the same time, hey, did you know that's how we got on their show. That's how we got into the Washington Post, and we took that Washington Post article and we retargeted that to all the other people in the media, so that's how you get follow-on media attention. Because there's a snowball effect. And that's what people don't understand about word of mouth, is like Logan said, you don't have to have Larry King or Tony Robbins for your first thing. Interview your customers, interview your other staff, and take that small and turn it into a medium. Take that medium and build authority and turn it into a large. And it's that sequencing over time. It's not this one breakthrough moment where I was going to commit suicide and then Ferraris all day long tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's not like that. It's about that gradual sequencing over time, but you need a system to do it, and that's what we're sharing with you guys.
Right. Man, I could talk to you all day. I know you guys got Diamondback game. So before we head out, let's talk about how people can get a hold of you guys if they want to learn more. Where can they get more training? Because if I was listening to this right now, I feel like this isn't enough. Like I'm just tasting it and I need more. So, and actually that's exactly how I feel right now. so where could I go? And everybody else, whoever wants to join me to learn more.
For sure. So if you are a student wanting to apply to the program, I'll break down, you go to blitzmetrics.com/students. If you're a business, just go blitzmetrics.com. From there you can navigate to the business page. If you just want to learn more casually, the best way is just to follow Dennis and myself on the Blitzmetrics page on Facebook, our page, not our profiles. So don't come and friend us, because you have like business and pleasure, whatever. So where we post about Facebook ads and marketing tactics and strategy is on our pages. So make sure to follow us. You can also reach out to email Logan at Blitzmetrics or Dennis at blitzmetrics.com. We try and stay on top of the email communication. Those are the ways.
Now, for the people that are watching, we're going to put it on the screen, but for the people that are listening in, blitzmetrics, plural.com/students, plural. Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. Well, you guys got it. We just spent time with a couple goats here in Facebook ads, arguable goats, because they want to say arguable. Because you know,
can say it.
I'll say it. Goats, because they're great. And guys, thank you so much for your time. I know you guys are super busy. Thanks for choosing us over Facebook. I mean, that means a lot. All right, guys. Well, thank you all for watching and for listening, and we will see you next week.
Thanks for joining us today. If you like this episode, subscribe to our YouTube channel or find our podcasts on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, or wherever your favorite place to listen to podcasts might be. And if you really like this episode, please leave a review for us on iTunes. Thanks, and we'll see you next week.